Everybody's doing well. Happy New Year. Picking up on Job, number 29. Job's continuing his discourse with his, assuming his friends, trying to verbally duel with him about God. And everybody's going to have a different opinion about God. Everybody's going to perceive it. No two people ever in the history of mankind have perceived God exactly the same way. We all see him differently, just as we all see physically differently. Job goes on to say, "How I long for the months gone by, for the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone in my head, and by his light I walked through darkness." We all long for that. But he never promised us that everything's going to be hunky-dory. Even to use his path, which is the smart one to do, we're still going to have hills and valleys, but for good, very good reason. Oh, for the days when I was in my prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house, when the Almighty was still with me, and my children were around me, when my path was drenched with cream, and the rock poured out for me streams of olive oil. He's longing for his past. Many of us do, especially as we get older. But we can't live in the past. We learn from the past. If we haven't learned as we were in the past, as we're existing in that immediate present time, hopefully reflecting back on it, we learn from it, not dwelling on it. When I went to the gate of the city, took my seat in the public square, where the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. The chief men refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with their hands. The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me, because I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to assist them. The one who was dying blessed me. I made the widow's heart sing. I put on righteousness as my clothing. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. So he was doing great. But he hit hard times. The Lord put him on hard times. In all likelihood to teach him some humility. So now he's reflecting on the longing for those times when it was great. Again, we all long for that. When we go through difficult times, we long for how it was. But how it was is never how it's going to be, because the world changes, and we should be changing with it. To the extent that God, in service to God, not to go along with the way the world is, because the world's corrupted. We have to continue to change with it in the sense of growing with God to combat evil, which will be ever present until it's not, which will be far sooner than people think. I thought, I will die in my own house, my days as numerous as the grains of sand. My roots will reach to the water, and the dew will lie all night on my branches. My glory will not fade, the bow will be ever new in my hand. People listened to me expectantly, waiting in silence for my counsel. After I had spoken, they spoke no more. My words fell gently on their ears. They waited for me as for showers, and drank in my words as the spring rain. When I smiled at them, they scarcely believed it. The light of my face was precious to them. I chose the way for them, and sat as their chief. I dwelt as a king among his troops. I was like one who comforts mourners. I was all so wonderful. I was fantastic. He's really praising himself, isn't he? Those who exalt themselves should be humble. That's exactly what's happened to him. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to put with my sheepdogs. What use was the strength of their hands to me, since their vigor had gone from them? Haggard from want and hunger, they roamed the parched land and desolate wastelands at night. In the brush they gathered salt herbs, and their food was the root of the broom bush. They were banished from human society, shouted at as if they were thieves. They were forced to live in the dry stream beds, among the rocks and in holes in the ground. They brayed among the bushes and huddled in the undergrowth. A base and nameless brood, they were driven out of the land. And now those young men mock me in song. I have become a byword among them. They detest me and keep their distance. They do not hesitate to spit in my face. Now that God has unstrung my bow and afflicted me, they throw off restraint in my presence. On my right, the tribe attacks. They lay snares for my feet. They build their siege ramps against me. They break up my road. They succeed in destroying me. No one can help him, they say. They advance through a gaping breach. Amid the ruins, they come rolling in. Terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away as by the wind. My safety vanishes like a cloud. Staying in here? Now my life ebbs away, days of suffering grip me, night pierces my bones, my gnawing pains never rest. In his great power, God becomes like clothing to me. He binds me like the neck of my garment. He throws me into the mud, and I'm reduced to dust and ashes. So trying to ask God, figure out why God's doing this to him. I can plainly see. Right, bright light. Plainly see that God sicked the devil on him for humility. We're told that those who exalt themselves will be humbled, those who humble themselves will be exalted. He's done it to me many times, both ways. It's a teaching lesson for him. We should view it as such. He's taken all this commentary back and forth with his friends for him to realize it when we get to the end. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. He always answers. Maybe you're not looking. He's not looking. He's looking for specific. When we ask God to talk to him, call out to him, if we're looking for a specific answer or type of answer, and it's not the answer he gives, whose fault is that? Or if we never talk to him and suddenly we talk to him and we don't hear an answer, whose fault is that? One, he may have, he's like, okay, you never talked to me, so why am I going to answer you? I want to see how serious you are. You really want to talk to me, you really believe, or you're going to give up because you don't get an answer that you want or an answer right away. And keep in mind also, time doesn't exist with God, so you ask him, you want an answer like in the next hour, probably not going to happen. You turn on me ruthlessly. With the might of your hand, you attack me. You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed for all the living. Surely no one lays a hand on a broken man when he cries for help in his distress. Yes, they do. Have I not wept for those in trouble? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? Yet when I hoped for good, evil came. When I looked for light, then came darkness. The churning inside me never stops. Days of suffering confront me. I go about blackened, but not by the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I've become a brother of jackals, a companion of owls. My skin grows black and peels. My body burns with fever. My lyre is turned to mourning, and my pipe to the sound of wailing. The old complaining. 31. I made a covenant with my eyes, not to look lustfully at a young woman. What is our lot from God above, our heritage from the Almighty on high? He asks. Is it not for ruin? Is not ruin for the wicked, disaster for those who do wrong? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? Does he not see that I'm good? I'm doing what he wants me to do? I'm striving to be the best I can be? If I have walked with falsehood or my foot has heard from after deceit, let God weigh me in honest scales, and he will know that I am blameless. If my steps have turned from the path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, if my hands have been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and may my crops be uprooted. If I am bad, if I have failed, then let me be punished for it. And he is being punished for it. His vanity. He hasn't failed, but his vanity, his pride. My heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I've looked at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind another man's grain, and may other men sleep with her. For that would have been wicked, a sin to be judged. It is a fire that burns to destruction. It would have uprooted my harvest. If I have denied justice to any of my servants, whether male or female, when they had a grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? What will I answer when called to account? Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Did not the same one form us both within our mothers? If I have denied the desires of the poor, or let the eyes of the widow grow weary, if I have kept my bread to myself, not sharing it with the fatherless, but from my youth, no, not here, bug. But from my youth I reared them as a father would. From my birth I guided the widow. If I have seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing, or the needy without garments, and their hearts did not bless me, but warming them with the fleece from my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had influence in court, then let my arm fall from the shoulder, let it be broken off at the joint. For I dreaded destruction from God, and for fear of his splendor I could not do such things. If I had not failed in all these ways, then why should I be punished? If I have failed in these ways, then yes, I should be punished. So he's realizing that. He's acknowledging that. There's a lesson that he still hasn't understood. If I put my trust in gold or said to pure gold, you are my security, if I have rejoiced over my great wealth and fortune my hands had gained, if I have regarded the sun and its radiance, or the moon moving in splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed and my hand offered them a kiss of homage, then these also would be sins to be judged, for I would have been faithful to God on high. If I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune, or gloated over the trouble that came to him, I have not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a curse against their life. If those of my household have never said, who has not been filled with Job's meat? But no stranger had to spend the night in the street, for my door was always open to the traveler. So he's a wonderful person doing wonderful things. I have concealed my sin as people do by hiding my guilt in my heart, because I so feared the crowd and so dreaded the contempt of the clans that I kept silent and would not go outside. Oh, that I had someone to hear me! I sign now my defense. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser put his indictment in writing. Surely I would bear it on my shoulder. I would put it on like a crown. I would give him an account of my every step. I present it to him as to a ruler. If my land cries out against me, and all its furrows are wet with tears, if I have devoured its yield without payment, or broken the spirit of its tenants, then let briars come up instead of wheat, and stinkweed instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. So he's pleaded his case. He's pleaded his case. Well, that will end. Pick up with the rest of Job. Men commenting on what he has said, all he has said. And it'll end on 42 with Job replying to the Lord. So Job stated his defense. Yeah, I've done all these good things. I've been wonderful. I haven't failed in this. But if I have, then let me be punished. So he's in some humility. He's learning. He's adjusting to he's transforming. It's all a teaching lesson. He uses the devil to set this all up. Maybe he's trying to teach the devil a lesson too, but that failed. The devil is just full of vanity, pride. So we'll end there and pick up at number 32 on the next time. Until then, peace of Christ, God bless, and protect yourselves against the stupidity out there in the world. Jesus, thank God.